Week 17 has a bunch of amazing matchups here, starting off with the Thursday night football game between the New York Jets and the Cleveland Browns, who are looking to clinch their playoff spot officially this week. We're going to get into that game, but before we do that, help us reach our goal of getting to 2,333 subscribers. We're about 80 subscribers away, and this is our final week to try and reach that year-end goal. So like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Ryan, this game, it's super shocking just looking at this game and the season that both of these teams have had. Is like the Jets have had the lowest of lows with like the excitement of Aaron Rodgers, and then just the unfortunate injury, and I guess it's going to even build it up even more to the 2024 season when he comes back, or really what that whole situation is going to entail. And then you have the Cleveland Browns, who Deshaun Watson has not looked good at all, like when he did play and when he was healthy. Then you had a couple grinded out games with DTR. You had PJ Walker slinging the ball around to anybody who could catch. If it was his team or the other team. Now you have Joe Flacco, who ironically has been was one of the biggest rivals to the Cleveland Browns during his time with the Ravens. Now making this amazing playoff push, and it would be completely ironic if Joe Flacco goes into Baltimore, or potentially even if things go the Browns' way and the Ravens just implode in these final 2 weeks, which I'm going to guess based off that Monday night game against San Francisco is not going to happen. But still, they're going to host the 5 seed, and man, they're probably going to play the AFC South team, and I would love to see a Colts-Browns rematch if the Colts are able to win. But they didn't look good. We were at the Falcons-Colts game this past week. Jags looks like Trevor Lawrence might be done for the season, depending on what comes back with the shoulder injury, but he's all banged up. Texans are also injury-riddled. So this Browns team, and they're just playing good football. I mean, when you have Amari Cooper run for or receive – it was like 2,000 yards in one game against the Houston Texans.
Yeah, he had 59 fantasy points in a PPR league, which is just insane. I mean, this Browns team, everyone kind of talks about San Francisco and kind of what they've been able to build, and this Browns team really is a fantastic team building job, just in the sense of how well rounded this defense is. And then you go look at this offensive side of the ball; they have a good offensive line. They're a little injured at the tackle spots. That interior is really good. They have good wide receivers. David Njoku is one of the best tight ends in the league. And then even with the injuries, like Nick Chubb has been out for the year with a severe knee injury. Then Kareem Hunt, and then even Nick Chubb's backup got hurt at a certain point. And so they go out, they get Kareem Hunt back, and they've just done a fantastic job of just next man up, playing good football. And it's been really exciting to watch. I mean, as our mom is a Browns fan, they have very rarely or ever good. And so this team looks really solid. And on the flip side, I think the Jets have done a good job of building a solid defense and getting some good skill position players on the offensive side of the ball. But I think you look at the weakness on this offensive line with the injury to Aaron Rodgers that thrusts Zach Wilson and now Trevor Siemian into a much more significant role. So that's interesting. Going to be an interesting battle to watch in this matchup, and I do expect the Browns to be able to just absolutely feast on this offensive line. And so I don't know, like the Browns specifically, I'm really excited to see, because this game could put them at 11-5 and in prime position to make a deep playoff push.
Oh yeah, like it's crazy to think that it's so many other divisions they would be tied at worst tied for the division lead, if not winning the division outright currently. But the Ravens are just also having a dream season as well and playing phenomenal. And both of those teams, when Deshaun Watson played up against Lamar Jackson, that was a phenomenal game. So I'm looking forward to seeing when those two teams potentially could meet again. I hope that they meet again. But just going back to the Browns here, and to your point about how it's just been team football all the way through, and also then give credit to how good the defense has been to help them win some games and keep them in games. Jack Conklin went down in the first week with an ACL tear. Nick Chubb, we all know what happened with him. Jedrick Wills, another offensive lineman, went down in week 9. It's been on IR since then. Pretty sure season ending as well. Sean Watson, season-ending surgery also. And then DeJuan Jones has been on IR. And I'm sure there's even a couple other names maybe I'm not recognizing as our offensive linemen. But they are still one of the top running teams in the league. Let me look at this right now here. When it comes to the overall rushing yard, 11th right now, 1,786 yards rushing, and who knows what that could be if they were healthy, but still above average running game. Joe Flacco does not seem like he has missed a step, and when you have Amari Cooper, you have David Njoku playing as well as what you're talking about. This offense just needs to be average because Myles Garrett, who I think honestly maybe has a legitimate MVP argument just with all the injuries that they've had, and he's been the face of that team for the longest of time, putting up 13 sacks. But in general, though, he's been leading the way in that great defensive front, just constantly being able to put pressure on these teams, especially feasting on teams like with weak offensive lines like the Jets, as you have said. So I think it's going to be tough for the Jets to manufacture points here, especially also too without Zach Wilson as their quarterback. I know Zach Wilson's had a very up and down type year, so maybe this is a controversial take, but I'll take Zach Wilson over Trevor Siemian every single day of the week. He was clearly better than Tim Boyle. I get why they moved to Tim Boyle and then tried out other quarterbacks, but even to Zach Wilson still is better than I still think he deserves to be the backup for them next year when Aaron Rodgers comes back, because Zach Wilson wasn't the issue this season, this offensive line. Now, with his faults, I'm not saying that he is a perfect quarterback and he's a starting quarterback in this league. But if they would have had a competent offensive line in front of them, and if they also were healthy as well, who's to say maybe they could have eked out a couple different games? Because you're right, they got Breece Hall, they got Garrett Wilson. They did get, the sum of the parts with Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, who is their tight end also. I'm blanking on their tight end. They have Tyler on here, and then there's another guy I thought that they had. CJ Uzoma. Just the sum of that parts, they would be able to just assist a little bit. And that's what I think just with how weak that offensive line is. There's no hope really for anybody, especially if they're going up against a competent defense like Cleveland. So I think it's going to be tough for them. I'm very curious to see what they do in the offseason, with the Jets. But let's get in our predictions. As I said, before we do that, help us reach our goal of 2,333 subscribers. Trying to get that by New Year's Day. So we're only 80 away. So just click. Very simple. So like, subscribe, ring the bell to get notified. And Ryan, I think it's pretty obvious who I think we're going to be picking. But let's just make it official. Who do you have winning this game?
Cleveland. I think they're just a better team. One of the things, too, you touched on this. This Jets run defense is not very good. I think they're bottom 5 in the league. And the Commanders were able to run all over the Jets as well. And I can only imagine what the Browns, who are a run-first offense, are going to be able to do to this Jets defensive front. And then also on the flip side, the Browns are just going to control this Jets offensive line to no end. So they're going to – oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I was just saying yes.
And so, like, that for me is like the Browns are going to win the trenches on both sides of the ball. No matter what. And like the Jets, they have a good pass rush, but they get moved in the running game, and I think the Browns are going to set them up pretty big in this game.
So
I'm just going to get handled.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Cleveland. I agree with a lot of what you said. I think when you look at these stats, I like looking at the overall season stats and like where they rank, just kind of get a general feel. But I think you have to take some of them with a grain of salt, as saying like where the Jets rank right now in rushing yards. They do currently have the 9th worst run defense compared to yards allowed per game. But they have the 2nd best pass defense when it comes to yards allowed per game. I think a lot of that too, you go look at their games, they're so good in the secondary. They do have that good pass rush, and they know that their offense is atrocious. It's like, let's just not make mistakes. We just can't make turnovers. And I think that kind of allows for teams to like kind of put some more guys in the box. Like, we're just going to try and control the line. Sorry, by box, I mean a little bit more tighter offensive package. And then when they get that lead, and when they get up 7, they get up 10, it's like, hey, we know that you can't go down and score. Like, go look at the Falcons game when they played the Jets. They just ran the ball. As soon as they got the lead, they just kept running the ball. It wasn't a sloppy weather game. But they're like, we're just going to run the ball, and if you stop us, we're going to punt it. And Tim Boyle can't move the ball on us at all. So I think that's where maybe some of that inflated running yards comes from. I still think that they're a good running team, and the Browns are going to have a good running performance still in general. But I agree with you, though. Browns are going to dominate the trenches, especially from the defensive side of the ball as well against that Jets offensive line. And that's just where I'm just curious how they're going to be able to play, especially then, too, if it is still Trevor Siemian. I just don't think they're going to be super effective against this Browns defense. So going to go with Cleveland and on a short week. I think there's just a little more talent as well, using your point. So it'll be a fun last Thursday night football game of the season.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap up this video here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Is it going to be the New York Jets? Is it going to be the Cleveland Browns? And let us know how much you think the Browns are going to win by. And other than that, we will see you guys next time.